One of the most effective marketing strategies is that of building a community around the brand, as well as integrating the brand within existing communities. This works best when the organization's marketers are sincere in their efforts not only to serve their target audiences, but also to help those audiences achieve higher order life purposes by serving fellow members of their communities. Think self-actualization in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When people are united in their efforts to progress, they tend to develop communities that support, nurture, and encourage each other. When these communities are developed around a particular brand, that brand becomes an essential component of that particular community. How do brands build community? Digital technology gives us the ability to build communities that are far-reaching as well as highly interactive. For example, in the health and fitness industry, it used to be that physical locations were the base station for building these community groups. But social media platforms have allowed community building to include participants far outside the immediate geographic area. This means that the standalone yoga or dance or fitness studio now has an opportunity to develop products and services that can be offered across the world. As this occurs, it becomes even more important to build brand because the competitive circle has now expanded globally as well. Social media also helps brands build more interactive and engaged communities. People can discuss the brand at any time and in any place. But marketers cannot just allow the discussion to take place without direction. Instead, they need to guide the discussion so that it's instrumental both in building the community and in keeping in line with the image that the brand is trying to develop, maintain, and convey. Remember, a great way to build brand community is to use the brand image, attributes, and benefits to unite people in a manner that helps them achieve a meaningful, shared identity around that brand.
When Ted Vatican and Angie Young created a small collection of vinyl wallets on a whim, they never imagined that their little passion project would evolve into a leading lifestyle brand known throughout the world. Back in 2003, the husband and wife team became known for organizing hip little art shows during their downtime.
We've always believed in the idea of accessible art.
The stylish duo loved exposing their inner circle to the emerging talent around them.
None of the artwork was selling because none of us could afford it because we're all poor. So we thought, oh, why not make something that's really affordable that everyone needs?
Ted and Angie collaborated with a handful of local artists to design a line of limited edition wallets to sell at one of their events.
People loved what we were doing. The wallet sold out that night.
People were like, whoa, this is so awesome.
We walked home that night with just sort of like butterflies in the stomach. We were just like, that was amazing. Let's do another series of wallets. Let's work with more artists to do this.
With their art for your everyday motto at the core, the couple launched Poketo, an online retail destination that sells both their original creations and other design-driven pieces with a similar aesthetic, all at affordable prices. Poketo has always celebrated the visionaries behind the products.
There was always a bio associated with the artist, and to give exposure to artists and designers that wouldn't normally get exposure. It really adds a whole other sort of life to what you're bringing home.
Over the past decade, Poketo has gone from an unplanned upstart to a booming business with a robust community of die-hard fans that grows by the day. Big name brands like Nike and Target have also embraced Poketo's flavorful flair, seizing unique opportunities to partner up.
I think that the really special thing about Poketo is it somehow was able to sort of walk this line of being mainstream and niche.
From day one, Ted and Angie have always understood the importance of creating memorable experiences for their customers.
We always say that it's not about the product, but it's about the experience.
From pop-up shops to art shows across the globe, their standout events allow their loyal following to engage with the brand on a deeper, more meaningful level.
We never had a home for any of these events.
So, in 2012, Ted and Angie opened up Poqueto's flagship shop and gallery in the heart of LA's downtown art district. Poqueto's one-of-a-kind brick and mortar houses a retail store, creative offices, and a transformative space dedicated to special events.
We wanted this corner to be completely like always changing, and whether it's an art show, book signing, or workshop.
Last year, Ted and Angie staged their first workshop.
We actually worked with a friend who makes mustard for a living. We were talking to him one day. We're like, why don't you teach a workshop on how to make condiments? And it totally sold out. And people loved it. And it was like, it smelled like garlic and mustard in here for days.
From condiments and calligraphy to flower arranging and social media for your business, Poqueto's workshops have become a celebrated community-building staple for the brand.
We're not just here to sell things to them, but we're actually here to provide a whole different set of creative outlets. I think it's more exciting for people to come into a space where it's like actually creativity is happening and not just a store.
Recently, Poqueto hosted a looming event with acclaimed textile artist Janelle Peterzak.
I like to see when they have that kind of aha moment when it clicks and they get it. I can see that they're really inspired.
I saw this workshop come up. I jumped on it right away. It was like amazing to be able to learn directly from her.
We love the energy it creates. It's just like buzzing with like positivity and people are just smiling, and it just permeates the whole space.
When a customer comes in and then they see that there's a fuller experience happening, I mean, it can become a memory and an education. So it's a pretty unique situation.
So you can tell that they're really passionate about the shop and the things that they do.
Ted and Angie's ability to creatively and authentically connect with their community has taken Poqueto beyond their wildest dreams. They recently opened a second brick and mortar in LA's Koreatown at the Line Hotel. And this past summer, the pair partnered with retail giant Nordstrom's to create 8 pop-ins throughout the country so that non-Angelinos could get a real taste of what Poqueto is all about.
The best compliment is when people write us and say, God, I'm so inspired by what you do. You've really pushed me to make this or do that. It's a really great thing that Poqueto can touch people in that way and really have that experience beyond, just buying a product.
Popcorn.
All right, welcome to another episode of...
I got it right for the first time.
Yes, well done.
Yes.
Okay, normally we kind of F up our start. So welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of Just Langga Podcast with the Popcorn team. So how's everybody doing?
It's been like 2 weeks since we last see each
yeah,
other.
and we
really took a break last
do a
week.
show for a week and you're like completely lost. That's my experience. Okay, so who do we have in the house? I mean, we've got okay, so we've got our speakers lined up. Right?
Relax, chill.
Okay.
You okay, right? Okay, grounded or not?
Yes, I'm grounded.
Okay, good. So before we go to that, let's just welcome all the audience because this is the first time we're doing it at 8 p.m.
Hi,
right?
Jessa.
We usually do it at 11. So what we are doing right now is that we're shifting the time to 8 p.m. to cater to the post RMCO because we'll be getting a lot of feedback from people who wanted us to do the show a little bit later so that they can actually join us, right? So first time at 8 p.m. I'm excited. How about you?
Oh, totally. How are you guys doing? Come on, let us know in the comment section. First of all, hello, Marissa, Rusnaja, Sarkuna, Facebook user is Shalin Chu. I have to check. Erwan, woohoo. Okay, sorry, I not start awal hari ni, and that 15 seconds, I was like, what the fuck? why is Amin putting this thing? But okay lah.
You know,
I think
it
we
kind of helped us to ground 1 minute before. Right?
no, yes, but can we have a nicer 15 seconds? That was like so boring. I'm so sorry. Another one.
That's,
Okay,
that's what
Amin.
next one come up with. Okay, move on, roll on. Okay, what we're
Okay,
talking about today?
so today we're gonna be, before we talk about today, we've lined up a speaker for August. Do we know who's speaking? Can we bring up the speaker list?
You want the speaker list? All right, I'll bring a speaker list.
Yeah, for August.
We have for August. These are the people.
So
that
we've got all these amazing people lined up. Today we're having Pixie. We also have Dan Knowlton. Can you also show the individual kind of thing? So we've got Dan Knowlton coming up next week. He's going to be talking about advertainment, where ads need to be entertaining, you know, and how you can produce entertaining marketing campaigns that actually drive a trackable ROI. This is going to happen on Friday, by the way, 8 p.m. Friday, okay? Because he can't make it on Thursday, so we're doing that on a Friday. And the next one, we're going to be talking. A lot of you guys have been asking us, because there's this fear of talking in front of the camera. So can we have the next one? I mean, so this is especially for you guys. So it's about your guide to being confident. Okay, that's my bad artwork because I cannot read. It's about being Muhammad Flavor Farouk's guide to being confident and professional and bold on the big stage. Not just the big stage, but also in front of the camera as well. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Because there's a certain mindset that you need to have in order to, you know, get rid of all those negative limiting beliefs. Like, oh my God.
I'm still stuck with being constipated. I'm still stuck with being constipated though.
Yeah, so hopefully
maybe it'll have a cure for me. So we'll see how it goes.
Unconstipate you by next week's episode. Okay, we'll get Flavor's help. Now, this guy is amazing, by the way. I'll talk about him later, but he's definitely amazing. He's a guy. And of course, in the next episode, we're going to bring back the godfather of vlogging, which is Tsujimi, due to huge demand because we couldn't finish the last episode. So we're going into part 2. Now that you know that you're a content creator, what are the things that you need to do and how do you get better at it? Yeah, kind of thing. What are the tips and tricks?
Okay. Line up for this month. All right.
Okay.
Just to recap again. So today we have Pixie, then we have Don Knowlton, then Muhammad Flavor Farouk, and also we're going to bring back Tsujimi again for the second time.
We need a special song for Farouk, right? Flavor. It has to be like some flavor.
We'll find one.
Okay, cool. So, hey Nazrin, welcome to the show. Pauline, how are you backstage and on here at the same time? This is amazing. This is like I'm
gonna pull her out because I know she's resisting it. I'm just gonna pull her out. Hey, Pauline, how are you?
Pauline's hiding backstage. She's very shy. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, guys,
so Pauline,
please do comment and do whatever you need to do, right?
She's giving us the third finger bite. Basically, next time, please put on makeup and make sure your screen is nice, okay? But she's kind of prepared because she's wearing the popcorn t-shirt, you know? Okay, so so we're prepping up for September. We already got 2-3 speakers ready for September. Who do you guys want to hear? What do you guys want to learn? Hit us up in the comment section or PM the P, which is what us Malaysians like to do because we're very shy. Right? Okay. Now, which brings us to today. I mean, what are we talking about today?
Today, we are talking about community marketing. I love this topic. We've been talking a lot about community building, all that, right? But I think today's topic is power, because I think I know what community marketing is, but I'm also a bit blur.
Honestly, I don't think he knows what community marketing is, but let's just allow him to know. So, which is why we invited, well, actually, but I don't know, but I mean, he says he knows, but me at Popcorn and Pauline, we're clueless. We don't know what we're doing. So that's why we thought, why don't we just bring in the expert at community marketing, okay? Now, why community marketing? Well, basically, in a world where large companies are just growing bigger and bigger, how do we as small businesses not get eaten up by these huge businesses, and how can we thrive? Well, this is what Burning Man, Harley Davidson owners group, and swimwear company Kitty and Vibe have in common, which is they built a thriving community around their brand to give customers value, whether they've made a purchase or not. And the best ways is, and community marketing is one of the best ways to cut yourself to the front and beat all the bigger groups. Although Harley Davidson is no longer a small group, right? They're now big. Yeah. So if you are you guys ready to talk about community marketing?
I'm ready to go. So again, just to highlight, if you do have any questions and all that, please put it in the comment section, right? I also have a lot of my own personal belief about what community is. I always think that community building is like a cult kind of thing and all that stuff, but I'm not. I don't know. Okay, that's just my personal belief.
I'm a happy cult person. Okay, so let's find out. Okay, so without further ado, intro video.
Popcorn.
All right, welcome back, Popcorners and LinkedIn family. I am Nina.
And I'm Amin.
And welcome to the Just Langgar podcast show by Popcorn, where we cover the latest on content creation, social media entrepreneurship, and the latest tech to help you guys position yourselves as business leaders and industry authorities out there through content creation. So what are we talking about today, Amin?
Today, we're going to be talking about community marketing, and we actually have the expert for community marketing itself. All right.
Okay. Now, before we intro you to her, again, if you guys have any questions, just hit up in the comment section. I also want to say hello to a couple of people who's just joined us. We've got Ila, hi. We've got Pankaj. Yes.
Okay.
And we've got Ista, who's also here.
She's like our loyal fan. So every episode we have him, right?
Yes, we're very lucky. And
maybe one day we'll uncover.
Yeah, why? And that episode will be why I watch Popcorn every single week. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So moving along very quickly. So so who is our speaker today, Amin?
We have she has this very amazing name, and I thought my name was complicated, but until I met up with her, you know what? She
has the best name ever.
She has the best name ever, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
And she's also here to talk.
I love her energy when I met her just now. It's just like first time I met her, I fall in love with the energy already. Dia ni memang community woman lah. That's all I can say.
Okay, so and the best thing is, I think she's the only one in the country who's talking about community building, community marketing, and it wasn't always that way. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But basically, she's the best person in the whole of Malaysia to speak about community marketing because she has been obsessed with building and mobilizing communities since forever. Okay, so now she started out as a volunteer helping minorities in China 10 years ago. And since then, she has been involved with growing the communities of youth NGOs, legal tech, startups, and SMEs. Her passion is to help people achieve their goals with the power of community. And she is a community builder by day and a nation builder by night. Wow, that's like
power,
right? So ladies and gentlemen,
like having like double identity, right?
Right, she's like Batman at night, but with a nation building kind of thing. So Popcorn family, please welcome Pixie Cigar.
Yep, let's welcome her. Okay.
All right, Pixie, welcome to the show.
I'm very excited. How you guys introduced me. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, you know what? I met you 2 years ago, and you were doing this community thing, and I was like, what is this? Kind of thing.
Imagine me explaining to family, friends, my grandmother, my mother-in-law. They were all like, what?
Exactly.
I'm really telling them I have a real job. That's my struggle these days.
Okay, now hang on. Before we get into community marketing, we've got a couple of questions from the Popcorn family because being Malaysians, they're very busybody. Okay, they need to know. They're very curious about you because first, your name is so happening. So first things first, they need to get this out of their system. They actually PM Tepini to us. Okay, they want to know number one, what ethnicity are you? Because you're not Malaysian, and not just the ethnicity. How did the Muslim thing also come in? So if you could help answer us, then they'll be able to focus on the episode.
Okay. All right. So how did I focus? I'm Hungarian Chinese, which is Romani on the Hungarian side. Romanis are which most people call gypsies. So I'm ethnically gypsy on my mother's side. And on my father's side, I'm Chinese. So Canadian Chinese, but I grew up in China. So I speak fluent Chinese. For me, Malaysian Chinese is not really that fluent. This is the China snob in me speaking. But I came to Malaysia around 5 years ago, and pretty much my whole life was moving from cities to countries and kind of being the gypsy I am until I'm here in Malaysia.
Okay, so how did you guys ended up in Malaysia? I mean,
So the first time was 2000, during the year of the tsunami, the year before 2003, because tsunami was 2004, right? So I was there as a kid. My parents just felt like moving. They do that a lot. They felt like another country's vibe with them. And that's why we actually converted to Islam. My family, we're not Muslims originally, and my parents converted me to Islam in Malaysia because they come from a background in North America and Europe where people are very hardcore drinkers and they did not like that environment. And it was the first time they saw people going crazy, having fun like lunatics without alcohol. And they were like, we need to figure out these people. Who are they? And these are the lovely Malaysians in Penang, Georgetown. And they converted. We also converted. And that's where we are now. And that's how the Muslim part came in.
Wow, so that's amazing. So that was back in 2004? 2003?
2004 is when we converted, yeah.
Okay, and then you guys moved here later on. Were you, right?
Yeah. We went back to China because my parents felt our education was more important to have in China. Because in China, the education system is more strict. Like I went to military school. My siblings also went to similar stuff. So I like that kind of environment. And when I finished university, I actually had some visa problems. And my mom was like, I'm moving to Malaysia because the food is good and I love the people. Do you want to come? I'm like, okay, I finished my final year project and I'll come over.
Okay, so basically you guys moved to a country where they didn't need alcohol to be happy.
Exactly.
Okay, sounds like us.
Yeah.
Pauline will have to agree. She's from Penang at the back.
Yeah,
Actually,
I remember.
But Ipoh food is better. I'm sorry, guys. That's just.
I told you, Pauline, I'm from Ipoh.
Ipoh is better. I'm sorry. I know you guys are gonna have haters. Ipoh food is better.
Yeah,
Ipoh girl.
but I remember you from the Drew Binsky interview.
Exactly. So now, if you guys notice why she's familiar, she's also been in a Drew Binsky video. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to show you about how amazing Pixie Cigar is.
Yeah.
Have a look.
So let's do that.
This is Pixie.
Hey.
When I first met her last week, she told me she's from Hungary. But after 5 minutes of speaking with her, I realized she's not really from Hungary. That's only what her passport says.
I was born in LA. I've only visited Hungary once and I can't speak Hungarian.
But she does speak 5 other languages fluently. Mandarin,
我的中文最好。
Malay,
Malay faham sedikit.
Japanese,
日本語も上手に話せます。
Cantonese,
我好少講白話
and English.
and I enjoy speaking English.
If you're wondering about her ethnic background, Pixie's dad is Canadian Chinese and her mom is Hungarian Romani Gypsy. That's where she gets her Hungarian nationality.
When I tell a person where I'm from, it really depends on the politics, the country, what will resonate with them most. Like if I say Chinese, I'm from China, then they will feel closer to me. If I see a assumably white person, I'll say I'm Hungarian just to see what their reaction is like. So in general, that's what I'm thinking.
While Pixie was born in the US, she moved to Canada at a young age, then spent 16 years in China and the latest 4 in Malaysia. And while she was born without a religion, she converted to Islam when she was 10.
Because no other religion made sense to me. I kind of have an identity crisis, but because of that, I'm really good at what I do as a community builder. I can bring people together and understand their problems to really help them.
The reason why I am sharing Pixie's story with you is because I know many of you out there can relate from growing up in many countries, speaking several languages, and having trouble identifying with one single place. If you're a third culture kid like Pixie, please share your story below because we are all curious to know.
再见, jumpa lagi, sayonara, zoigin, see you later.
All right. I mean, I know you have questions about how Pixie got into Drew Binsky's video because you're a Drew Binsky's fan, right?
So actually, how it happened is because of the immigration. When I was getting my current job that I was in, I had to leave the country for a bit for them to process my working visa, which unfortunately the agency did not tell me I cannot come back into the country for unknown time. So I'm stranded in Bangkok. At first, a 3-day trip became a 20-day stranded there. So while I was there, I thought, if I'm in town, I might as well organize events because I'm a community, like deal with the community. So I went to go visit a bunch of I just texted people on LinkedIn and spoke to them. And I asked the co-working space if they can give me their space for free. And then I organized a workshop for anyone interested in community building to teach them about it, for us to identify what is a community builder. And he was there. He was there doing a video for someone else. We shared the same co-working space. And because the co-working space, shout out to Haba, the co-working space gave me, let me stay there for free while I was stranded. We got to meet up with each other, and I was talking to Drew, and he's like, yo, can we do a video? Can you bring your passport tomorrow? I'm like, sure. I'm here for unknown amount of time anyways. I have time. So I did not expect the video to get so many views in a short time. I think it only happened because I like to cold text people and I like to be a busybody. That's the reason for the video.
Okay, that's fantastic. All right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and Rusnaja is here, and she says she loves Pixie, and she's actually met you before. She found Drew's video.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So
cool.
it's interesting because last time also we kind of like interviewed your sister, right?
Yes, my sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which goes to the next question, actually. Pixie Cigar, is that like a real name? Is Cigar like a real name?
So, yes, it is a real name. I was planned to be a boy because my mom just doesn't like women. It wasn't a guy thing. It's just she hates dealing with girls. Like, it's so troublesome dealing with females. So because of that, she wanted 3 boys, and I was her first child. And she had such confidence in the fact that she will get her 3 boys. She did not check the gender. And she only had boys' names prepared, which was Felix, Cigar, Fee. Felix is a famous racehorse jockey. Cigar is a famous racehorse because she's Hungarian. She's crazy about racehorsing and racehorse. Okay. And Cigar won 16 championships in a row. She cried when the horse died. Let's just put it like that. Before she found out I was a girl, she was shocked. She even questioned the doctor as if they will lie to her. And she looked at me and she looks like a pixie. And then that went into my passport. So Pixie, they were not going to drop Cigar just because I was a girl. They weren't going to change a different horse. So Pixie Cigar Fifi is my last name and then Chinese, but I generally only go by my name, first and middle name, which is Pixie Cigar. It's very, very true. And thankfully, because I was a girl, my mom was prepared for the fact of potentially having a female. So both my sisters' names were prepared with girls' names, and they're named after female horses instead.
Right. Okay. Amazing.
Amazing.
Okay. So your sister, and thanks to you as well, we actually had your sister come on one of our POPCONfest to actually speak. Yeah. And that was with Tsujimi as well. Yeah. So thank you very much. But her name is not Silly Bling, is it? Her real name?
Her name is private and confidential. But
okay, got it.
Silly Bling, it is a combination of her name and her best friend's name. We were running out of ideas when we were coming up with her channel when she was 14 years old, and she was very close to that friend, so that just happened.
Aw, that's cute. Wow. But I would have thought that was real with Pixie Cigar, Silly Bling.
I know, but they actually have relatively normal names. It's still racehorse related, if you know the backstory, but we actually never call her by her real name. Only immigration calls her by her name. So when people tell me her name, we're like, we don't even call her name. Why would you need to know?
Okay, got it. All right.
Okay.
So now that we've got that out of the bag, we can now start. Okay, Rogue, are you happy? Okay, got it. Okay, so now, Pixie, in your own words, can you share with us a little bit about yourself, how you started with community building, that is? What do you do today to help businesses?
So how I started, it was in 2010. I was in high school. I was bored and did not know what to do with my life. And I didn't really have so many friends. I actually didn't really want friends, but I like to talk a lot. So someone without a lot of friends and liking to talk, it's not a convenient mixture. And I thought of, why don't I volunteer? I saw someone on my QQ, at that time, it's our social media in China, post something about his volunteering. So I texted him, what is this thing of volunteering? He told me. So then I just went up to this. It was a minority center, a community center for minority groups in China. So helping them fit into the society, Muslims, Mans, different minorities. And I just started volunteering. I'm like, guys, I'm willing to do anything. Just let me do something. I did stuff from community events, bringing people into mosques, educating them about Islam. People lived on the street for 60 years and never been into the mosque just nearby because there was such this community division between the Muslims and the non-Muslim Chinese. Also did stuff on picking up dog shit awareness. And with that, community building a few years in China, when I was in high school and university. Then when I came to Malaysia, I started getting involved with NGOs, youth NGOs namely. It was also because in 2015, I was very, very bored and did not know what to do with my life. And I wanted to find something that was Pixie. I wanted to find something that I can be proud of. And I didn't know what it was. And I had no goals in life. So I started going to events, going every event that you can think of at the time, volunteering. I would just contact groups and like, how can I help you? Anything. So I did stuff from like street food feeding out to setting up event spaces to emceeing. I became an MC only because someone asked. I'm like, I've never done that before. Let me try this out. I blacked out for like 30 seconds on stage. It was like terrifying and I had to keep running to the toilet. It was not easy. So after all of that, I kind of realized this is getting really interesting. So I was more involved in NGOs. I knew more. I was focusing on youth. Then I looked into unemployment, and then I started getting hired as a community builder, especially looking at the startup industry. Startups got involved. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. How do these people think? And slowly, it was startups, then legal technology. Then I looked up, all of these things are really cool, but who am I? I am for communities. Then I started narrowing down more on my niche and understanding what was the main value I provided compared to other, let's say, startup mentors, advisors, marketeers. I knew I can do that, but I wasn't an expert in any of those particularly. And I found my niches in community building. And here I am today. So I'm working under one of the Alibaba companies and focusing on community, hired as a community builder, which I was very proud of when I managed it, because when I was a community builder before, I supported myself by translating Chinese to English. Okay. So that was my way of income for like my first 6 years of community building until companies in Malaysia started realizing the value. Then I'm like, okay, finally I can be paid for what I'm really good at. So I think that was like a very exciting moment. But before was always I had a different hat. So whether it be working at a co-working space or a project manager, event organizer, NGO leader, those are all hats. But by core, I'm a community builder. So that's kind of the journey I have. And surprisingly, 10 years, I'm very shocked. I'm not that because it started in high school, those 10 years just went past very fast for me.
Wow. Okay. So you started like not getting paid until now only that people are starting to see how important community marketing, community building is. We've got a question from Harith. Harith, we'll get to you in a bit. So why is community marketing so important? What do people know now which they didn't know before?
So community marketing is more of a subset of community building. So community building is first step. You need to build that community. Then you need to think, how are you going to, whether it be engaging with that community, utilizing it. I know people hate the term utilizing and community, but that's the reality, right? How do you want to take advantage of it, whether it be for someone or for yourself? So where the marketing comes in place is whether it be for, let's say you have a certain product, you have a certain service, you want to spread awareness of your brand and what you do in a non-shoving in your face kind of way. We are so used to advertising. We see them anywhere. We're immune to advertisements. And advertisement that catches our attention is because it has great content. So first, having that great content is the way, important factor of community marketing. Or else people's like, oh, it's just a Facebook group with 200 ads. It doesn't matter. Doing it the smart way is the community marketing way.
Right. Okay. So it also involves content marketing. I mean, doing that content, which is interesting and giving value as well. So if we were to define community marketing, what exactly is community marketing? And is it the same as brand communities or is it different? How would you define it?
Yeah, so these two, I would say it's apples and orange here right now. So brand community, I would say more it is a type of community itself. And in community marketing, it is a strategy that the brand can go and take. And I think in general, if a company goes and says that our company's marketing strategy is to use community marketing, then you already know that they go more the brand, the soft pile, the more grassroots engagement type of way. They will not spend the budget on a lot of billboards or YouTube ads. Or if they're doing YouTube ads, the angle is very, very different. So I would say it's more of an angle of advertisement and
Okay.
marketing.
Got it. I think that's fantastic. Now, what are the main benefits of building a community and community marketing as well? And why do people join communities?
So why is it important? First of all, having a community in the first place, you're strengthening your brand and also the relationship with your users, whether it be users of a product, customers of a shop, let's say the body shop or any of these things, people have a connection with the brand. You're not just a chatbot. You're not just a customer service. You kind of involve the community, making them part as a stakeholder. This is a very important mindset to keep in mind that your community members are your stakeholders and they should at least feel like they have a say in your brand and what you do as a company itself. And I would say, why do people join communities as a member? First of all, you have to have a shared common goal. Example, we all love cooking. This is a common goal. Or we all want to stop plastic waste. So in the term, I'm using plastic waste, but guys, don't think that I'm talking about an NGO community. I could have a makeup brand, for example, whose mission is to stop certain kind of wastages, whether it be more vegan friendly, animal cruelty. There's so many different ways to angle it. Essentially, it is a marketing strategy. I'm sorry if I'm bursting the bubble for anyone who feels very strong towards the brand because they support they don't want any animal cruelty, so their products are safe, but it's just a method to get you guys on it, which is still good. You still achieve it, but remember, it is a planned strategy here.
Okay, got it. And who is community marketing for? Is it for small businesses or big businesses?
Everyone.
Everyone.
It's really important to know everyone should do it. At least you should lead towards. So maybe at the beginning phase, you're not implementing the marketing place because you first need to build that community, right? So whether it be a small community, you can already start investing. And I'm not talking about necessarily investing money. I'm talking about investing time. Because community building is a long-term strategy. It takes time to build up that relationship. You don't just walk up to someone on the street saying, hey, can I be your friend? Even on Tinder, you need to have some 20-minute chatting or like you have to build that rapport. You don't just suddenly say, hey, let's be friends. Other than kindergarten, I have yet to see that work without someone calling the police. So it's important for small companies. For big brands, they need to realize that, hey, you've already been operating 10 years and you still don't have that repertoire with your customers. That is worrisome. You are missing out on a huge pool of data, especially, and people who can help point your company towards the future in the most smoothest way. You don't want to realize you're missing out when you actually are missing out.
Love that. Amin has come in, especially because when you said about Tinder and how you should at least chat 20 minutes before you offer something to that other person on the other side. I mean, you're muted. We can't hear you. I don't understand sign language, yo.
Sorry, you read my mind.
Actually,
Yeah,
it's
I
very
came in the
similar
moment I
with
hear the
what
word Tinder.
it's very actually what you're talking about is extremely similar to what we teach our students for the LinkedIn class, right? I mean,
Yeah,
don't do a Tinder, guys.
Yeah,
Chat.
I think we kind of like live in this. There are people who still lives in this era where I'm just gonna bang without
Yeah.
having that. Nak masuk, the Malay proverb would be nak masuk rumah orang bagi salam lah dulu.
Yeah.
Right. So
Please say the
please
salam
stay.
before you enter somebody's house. Please greet
Exactly.
them. Yeah. kind of thing.
I feel so wrong, guys.
It's true. Okay, with you saying that, why do people join communities?
Yeah.
Because we want to find a connection with other people. The world, just like how I started getting involved with the community center, you can necessarily not necessarily call it lonely itself. You want to find someone who's in it with you. It is exciting when you know that there's a group of people heading towards the same direction. You know you have a support group. If you are falling, you can ask a question. You don't feel like you're drowning in water. We, mankind, we are creatures who need other people around us. We don't live alone. And communities, yes, I'm saying community building is new. It's not new. It's been around from the beginning of times, from tribes to religions to cults to everything, for governments. These are all communities. We can't live alone. But if you're going to engage with someone, become close with them, you need to at least share some kind of common goals, values, or these things. And a community with a clear value proposition and clear mission statement, this is how you can go and attract people. We all care about this thing. Let's come together. And we're more willing to open up to each other.
Okay, cool.
It's kind of related to this next question that the audience is actually asking.
Wait, hang
Something
on.
to do, yeah.
No, we'll look into that later. I've got that scheduled, so hang on. So what mindset do we need to have to do community marketing well?
Okay, so mindset-wise, first of all, you need to have a clear objective. So putting away community marketing, community building aside, leading up to marketing, you need to know what you want. If you are going to go build a community, be straightforward with yourself. There's so many times business owners come and talk to me and say, Pixie, I want to build a community. I want to engage my customers. I want to have connection with them. I'm like, what do you actually want? Are you going to go and use this to make money? If it is, it's fine. But people love to lie to me and say, no, it's just for the community. It's for the support. My guys, be true to yourself. If you want to make money, it is perfectly okay. What I will tell you is when you're building it, don't start out with that. But we can slowly build a repertoire with your community that it can lead into paying customers, or it can lead into more loyal customers. I like to look at a lot of times community building as in engaging to have more return and loyal customers. That will be a more softer touch compared to a lot of first-time customers. So different strategies depending on what you want.
Okay, and you mentioned that it's a long-term strategy. How long do we talk about?
What do you want to achieve?
Sales. Let's put it that way. Let's go straightforward with what a lot of people are denying.
So if you want money, you want to look at two ways. First of all, are you someone starting from scratch, that you don't have a product in the market, you don't have anything else? So if you look at Xiaomi, when they started out, so I'm bringing in different examples. Xiaomi, when they started out, they involved with the app user enthusiasts. These are people who loves commenting and sharing bugs, like this open source community. They started sharing a lot. So whenever Xiaomi went and made adjustments very fast, they commented right away as well. So the product became better and better to what we saw, especially in 2014. I'm like, wow, this is an amazing product. But this is because they engaged their community in very early stage. Those people were their first customers, their first super fans. So many startups talk about at the beginning, you need to build your super fans in order to make sure that curve continues to go at least upwards and those super fans. But let's say you are an existing company, whether it be NGO or business, you already have a user base. You have data. This is something other people don't have. Data is king. And I think understanding the importance of data was the biggest difference between me 3 years ago and me right now as a community builder. And more businesses and communities need to look at the data itself. If you already have this user base, then you can see, if I want to make sales, I break this down, understand what are their demands, get them involved in the community. The simplest way is even sending out a survey to your newsletter. Maybe let's say you have 10K customers so far in the past 5 years. Ask them, what do you want community? Where do you want it to be? Do you want Facebook? Do you want WhatsApp? What do you want to see there? With one simple survey and doing analysis on your customers, you can right away already start building a community. you can understand what are they expecting. Are they expecting better deals? If you realize they're not looking for engagement, they're looking for a loyalty program, which is still a community, these are ways how you can start building up in a way that sales channel, the funnel of people becoming returning customers.
Okay, that's really fantastic.
Wow.
So as a community builder or as a brand or a business, what sort of data am I looking for from my companies, if you could, from my community, if you can share?
First of all, at the very, very early stage is your demographics. Just like any business, you want to understand who are your users, who use the products, where are they hanging out, are they urban, are they rural? If you're rural, then let's not build something that like a coffee chat group that we meet at cafes, because there's not many rural cafes. Even the branding of it, we rather call it a mamak session instead of a coffee session. Even that simple little wording makes a difference when you understand that data. So first is the demographics. Once you understand the demographics and go deep dive, and then you understand their consuming habits, their engagement habits, where do they hang out, what do they do, what are their the top things they like to talk about. Then if you have existing data, let's say on the product, you can understand that, let's just say pet owners, okay? Is this someone, what kind of pets do they own? Are they reptiles? Are they furballs? So this way you can even break down further and really understand what is the problem with my user base now. I'm having a lot of first-time customers, but not enough returning customers. Am I lacking enough reoccurring site visits? Let's say we are a blog, that is our business. We want to make sure people keep coming back. Then by understanding this data, we can plan our strategies. Are you trying to drive traffic or more engagement? There's no right or wrong answer. It depends what you want to achieve and who are your users. Then you can work on a strategy that can meet these two.
Wow, those are really powerful. Do you have anything to add to that, Amin?
Actually, she kind of answered it, because I have this thought before we went to that question just now, was that as a business owner, I know sometimes the word community can be a cliche.
Yes.
Well, right? So everyone say they want to create a community, and then at the end of the day, it's still numbers and cents, right? So my question is, if I am a business owner, how do I find a balance between sales and building a community?
Listening.
Yeah.
What? Sorry? Listening.
Actually listening to what the communities want. Yes, I'm bringing in a lot of numbers here, and that's because I understand numbers are very important, because if you don't know how to measure success, you're kind of just swimming in a pond and you don't really know where you're going. But actually being that person to, yes, I'm important, numbers are important, but there's that moment you need to take as a community builder, say, wait a second, I know the numbers are saying this, but let's listen to how the community feels. What are these kind of things that we cannot put in numbers, we cannot measure? Having these conversations with people is when we realize that not all answers are in A, B, C, D option. The others is where you find out those stuff that can actually make a huge difference for your business. So when you are hiring someone as your community team, or let's say you are a founder and you are pretty much setting your mindset on how to manage this, yes, put your numbers there, but you need to always be community first. You need to be willing to listen and be willing to share. At least you have to give the perception that you, not say you are vulnerable, but you are an open book. That if you tell me this, I like it, I dislike it, I will give you feedback. It is a two-way conversation. This is not advertising. Advertising is when I tell you buy this product and you click and go buy it. Community is when I say, why don't you buy this product? And people are like, hey, I use this product, I actually have this kind of feedback, or I hate this product, why are you doing this? To me as a business owner, this is gold. I need people to tell me this. I'd rather someone tell me this when I go to market in different areas, and then I face that embarrassment of something being a failure. Communities help me. They're my support group, even though they may not say the nicest things sometimes. That's important to remember. Not all communities are very lovely people. But being able to maneuver and create this close relationship that they feel like you are their friend is really, really important.
Yeah,
but
I think what you're sharing is super important, and it's very relevant to us at PopCon, because we keep telling our clients that, hey, social media is a two-way conversation. It's exactly what you're saying. Before, you used to tell people what to do. No more. People can talk back at you, and they get information freely. If we don't agree with it, we don't agree with it. If we think you suck,
Yeah.
you suck. If you're stupid, you're stupid.
Yeah.
So they
I'm
can
going to give
handle
an
it. You know
example.
what I mean?
I'm going to give an example of one of our potential clients. I was actually told that the big boss actually told the staff to switch off the comment section because they were just afraid of what the community will react
Yeah,
or how
And
they will get back.
this is a financial institution, by the way, just to let you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just that. But here's interesting part about this is that um, I like what you're saying, but of course, when you are in the business, right? The mindset will be numbers first, numbers first, numbers first, numbers first, right? How do you overcome that? Do you have like examples of people who have actually done this? I think
as
maybe like
two
I
numbers.
think
yeah, maybe I want to be inspired right now. Is there any examples or like
Well, I
someone that you know?
So I think I want to touch on first the comment section one. So this is something that I used to have conversations with my stakeholders, like whether it be the clients or my bosses in a way. This conversation of, am I going to let people say it to my face? Essentially, they're saying it to your face and letting everyone see their comments about you. So there's actually different techniques that you can manage these things. I feel as a business, as a community itself, is very important to give that channel, but also set your boundaries. What is okay and what is not okay? Where should you make these kind of comments? One thing that I like to do when I know I'm touching on a really tricky subject, so for example, I'm asking feedback on a feature that I know we have problems. We've been getting bad comments about it. It's not really working, but I need more data because I take community as a way to talk to stakeholders, talk to the tech and production, like, hey, community saying this, push the other updates of other features, you go and fix this problem for me. And community is my way to say the people want it. And what I do is this 24 hours to comment. I let people to say anything they want, and I tell them I will close the comment section in 24 hours. Until then, I will address every single thing, but I will close it because I only take constructive feedback. So it's being very important and keep it very clear to your community, constructive feedback, and also letting them know why are you closing comment sections. And I noticed when I did that, you'd never ever have any rejections towards closing comments. But as a business, as well as you're mentioning, the numbers are important, right? And you don't want people to go and bash your brand. So I can make it very clear, PR people dislike me. The PR department does not like how community builders want to represent the company. They don't like us. There's fights when it comes between PR and us. I'm like, no, we should be more transparent. And they're like, no, we have a reputation to maintain. And it's actually quite hard to keep that balance. And I usually, how I do it is we try to take a step back on both sides because you understand what are they thinking. So when a company is so big that there are certain reputation issues to maintain, it's always smarter to do an internal community. That is a better way to do. Of course, people can always screenshot, but being ultra clear of your intentions is the way for brands not to say get away, but to clarify what they mean on things and also still address stuff without your PR department knocking on your door and sending you emails.
Okay, that's really good. I kind of like what you're saying as well. I don't think PR people like me either. Okay, so could you share with us some successful examples of businesses getting community marketing right? How are they doing it?
Okay, so my first example I previously mentioned was Xiaomi, right? They are doing so well. It's so cool how they started out in China. That whole building that fan base, the super fans, and getting them involved in the product. The most earlier communities that I would say that the internet world has experienced is our open source community. So these are things where you look at WordPress, you look at GitHub. A lot of these are initially started out as communities, or they right away thought community from day one, and it helped grow the awareness of their products. Whether let's say you're a blogger itself or a user of a feature itself. They're also, so these are more on the technology side. So the technology side, they use them as beta testers, early stage super fans. Then you have a community that I really love, which is the football community. Football fans are loyal, man. They are so passionate people. And you can see that true love in their eyes and how they root for the team. You know, people who only fly a certain airline because they're the main sponsor, and it's super successful of how they utilize the community to grow the awareness. Yes, it is a kind of hobbyist kind of community, so it's somewhat easier, but it took a lot of work for those communities to really build up. You see certain clubs just way better than other clubs, not necessarily on the players' performance, but also as how is that messaging that they bring to their fans. What do they represent? These are ways. Another type is, I saw someone in the group mentioning cults. Cults, aka in other terms, the religious term, or else is MLM, they are super interesting. I admire them. I personally will not do it, but community is a double-edged sword. It could go bad. It is purely based on intention. One of the bad examples that I have seen in communities are situations when communities did not listen to their members itself. Example, Blockbuster. So I'm using Blockbuster as a community, as a brand itself. What were they doing? They closed down in 2010, ceased operation. They had so many employees. Why were they not listening to the demands of the market? This is where you can see a very obvious failure. You do have the people who are very loyal to keep on renting DVD players, the old school people, but that was not the mass of your community. And if they felt like that was the people they should keep on serving, they should have pivoted their company to become more exclusive. There was a way for them to continue to survive, but not listening is a huge problem. Okay. So those are a few. And I think there was one bad example, not bad example per se, a community, but one thing that happens is when communities are built off of a single person personality. That is very dangerous. That's when you have cults. Or in my case, when I started building a community, when you build a community, first step is actually to penetrate an existing community. Whether you're coming in to fix it or you're going into a new market, you're penetrating community. So you need to let people to know you and understand what you stand for in a short amount of time. But when a brand has that person to do it, that person's leaving or any move, it is very dangerous to a brand itself. This is important.
You kind of reminded me on the Vikram yoga story.
Yeah.
Could you share that story?
Like that, right?
Because not all people watching might know about it.
So if you guys are actually doing yoga, there's one very famous yoga master. He's based in California before this, and he created this thing called the Vikram yoga, right? And it became like a cult movement though. Like everyone is like so into it, and everyone's like swear to God that Vikram is the best yoga master in the whole entire world. But then there was a lot of allegations going on behind him. There was sexual abuse. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scene. So there was an arrest warrant for him, and he managed to flee the States, and he's still practicing it somewhere in Southeast Asia. I don't know where he is.
Southeast Asia, okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mention where it is.
In his case, it's a bit better because he was an individual brand. But let's say when you have for companies out there thinking of building communities, you will need that community builder who can be able to wow people at beginning stage. But it's very important for you to realize when it's becoming too much about that person. So like for me, there is a community I'm managing for past 2 years. After 1 year, I grew it to about 110% growth. And my decision I made is to slowly back out. I started hiring other people to go in front. And it was very important that I kept mixing up the people, and I always made it a point to show off other personalities within the brand itself, because I knew it's dangerous if it's just about me. And it is not a healthy community. The members need to know that this treatment is not because of a person, but it's because of a brand. But without the person, you won't be able to get that initial chatting, that initial relationship repertoire built up.
Yep, I absolutely agree with you. Okay, we've got a question from Marissa.
Hold on, I have another question on this.
Okay.
It's interesting that you use football as an analogy, because I'm also a fan. Right? But when it comes to
Which
football, sorry, my club is not performing this year. It's Manchester.
He's a Man U.
That's a Man U, right?
My
So
husband's pretty good back.
must be a Liverpool fan, right?
Arsenal.
We can sit down and just have a conversation. But the thing with football fans, they are so into it that I even know someone who actually have a tattoo of the football club in his hand.
Yeah.
Is that actually possible for business? Can it actually reach to that level?
Okay, this, first of all, it will depend on the industry itself. I personally don't believe, and I will actually, based on my own morals, I will never go and try to build a product-based brand into that. It's just based on my morals, because I actually don't believe you need to have anything.
Okay.
So, okay, let's use the case here, but quite obvious, the Apple enthusiast.
Yeah.
I feel like that is leading there. And to me, my personal morals, I am not okay with that. Also, I don't like using Apple. That's just a personal preference. But this kind of cult, this is the only technology that I use. I totally see where it's leading to. It is possible, but of course, certain industries is easier to have that kind of extreme following. If you look at Mind Valley, for example, not everyone is interested in new age kind of personal development. I'm not a fan of it because of the style, but that is easier to have crazy fans versus someone crazy in Logitech, example. This is not necessarily an easy brand to build towards that. You get that through football because this is a long-term sport. It's something that it's our childhood, it's our memories, it's our father, our grandfather, everyone played as a kid. So you have that personal connection to it beyond your social status. It's something that it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. As long as you can play it, it's very accessible. So those kind of things, it's easier to create that fan base.
Okay. I'm going to go to a question from Marissa. Yeah. Okay. Now, how can this apply to service-based businesses, industry like insurance business, community marketing, for example?
So in this particular case, we'll be looking more as a customer loyalty kind of thing. So example, let's say you have insurance and you have a super, super premium kind of insurance package that you know that only people with, let's say, a 1 million ringgit net worth will be in that club. So anyway, you setting a community doesn't have to be big, guys. Remember that. And it doesn't have to be publicly known. So let's say for the $1 million network, let's call it Millionaire Club. Cheesy name, but it rings with people as well. You need to remember it needs to resonate. Someone wants to feel like, yo, I'm part of a Millionaire Club. They like that. So these kind of communities more of how can you provide the best service, the best relationship with these customers for them to feel like, you know what, I'm going to keep on staying with this insurance company versus another insurance company. So when you're building a community, you don't need to think right away, I need to have a Facebook group, I need to have a forum. Don't think like that. A community can also be just how do you engage, how do you involve your customer into your company? How do you make them feel like you actually care and listen to customers? You're already building a community. But it's always better to consciously do that, have a strategy and plan and pivot when needed.
Okay, cool. Wow. Sounds awesome. Let's talk about building a community then. What are some prerequisites or key components to a thriving, successful community?
Okay, so first of all, you have to have a very, very clear objective. Like a very clear objective of what you want to achieve. Secondly, you need, first one is setting your goal. Secondly is also understanding your demographics and constantly engaging. Most importantly, let people listen to you. It's important to let people know what you stand for. Because if people don't know you're fighting for this cause, but you're selling, let's say, lipstick, people won't feel like, oh, you're fighting this cause too, let me be part of you and I'll buy your lipstick for any particular reason. So if you don't kind of like shove your face in front of people in a tactical way, then people don't know and they won't join something they don't know about. It's not that you're not doing a good job. It's just people are not hearing you.
Right. Okay. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that, Amin?
Not at this moment. I think I'm getting a lot of stuff here. Just I'm actually writing
no
notes right now.
How can a brand quickly start a community? What are the important steps to take?
Yeah.
I would say the first 3 steps to take. I think I keep mentioning the same stuff. One is set a goal. Secondly, if you already have a community,
Demographic.
reach out, find out what they want, and just do it now. Don't wait. Don't think of community that let's have a 1-year plan, already do everything. Do planning, that is important, but don't keep waiting for it. I'd rather someone just start a community and adjust themselves, as long as they make sure that their mission statement and their goal is very clear. Then hey guys, just start it and you figure out along the way. The problem is when businesses wait too long, you miss out. That other insurance company is going to get a better loyalty program than you. By the time you come into the game, they've already had a 1-year relationship with your potential customers. You're losing out.
I actually have a question on this. The question is, so if we were to set intention on this, it cannot be a profit intention, right? At the end of the day, it has to be something that is bigger than whatever that you're focusing on.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's what you look at. Short term.
Okay.
Profit's fine. Like guys, we need to make money to sustain. And sustainability is something I would say is the most common reason why communities fail. Lack of sustainability. You did not think through, if I'm not around, what is going to happen? Or if I stop, like if let's say I have a design agency, my design agency is not getting enough clients. What is this blog about artistic, bouquets? How is that going to survive? You need to think about that. If you don't think of the long-term plan, you're failing your community. You're not being responsible to them. A group of people came together because they believed in the same goal. As a community builder, it's your responsibility to help them achieve their goal, guide them towards the right direction, and maintain the existence of the community. Not saying that when you have achieved the goal, the community breaks apart. You can, and that's perfectly okay. But you need to learn, if you have a short-term goal, let's say pass a law in Malaysia to have no more plastic straws, example. So does that mean the moment that law gets passed, the community just breaks apart? No. Their goal is having a better environment. Their goal is waste. So then you just adjust to see, okay, now what is our short-term goal? This is why you have your current goal and then your mission statement. What is the kind of world, whether it be with food, with your blog, whether it be football or anything, what is the goal at the end of the day? And this is the thing that keeps the community together. But as a community builder, you need to help them achieve their goals.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting because during this COVID-19, there's actually quite a lot of community that was created, and it's actually booming up, right? One of it that I noticed is the frontliners community in Facebook.
Yeah.
And that one is like doing really well. And then the one that my sister-in-law is doing, she created the community for people who are stranded outside for overseas.
Cool.
Yeah, and but what I noticed is that a lot of these are not profit-based. Right? There's some sort of cost behind it, isn't it? So to find a balance for business.
So a cause itself, like a lot of these during COVID, because the nature of COVID will spring up more cause-based kind of communities, and that's just the nature. So whether it be stranded or not, it's very hard to say like how I'm going to make money off of it. But let's just put it like this. Example, a medical company, they decided to create the community for frontliners. In the community, there's nothing about selling. They should not be selling, especially during this time in that kind of environment. I'd rather than be marketing how they manage, let's say Malaysia, the mask is 1.1 ringgit and 50 cents right now. That's the cap price. They managed to get it for 50 cents for certain communities. That's something I want them to do in the community at this stage. But after COVID, when you look at all of the medical companies, you realize this particular hospital is the one who spring this movement. Are you going to bring your family to this hospital or the one next to it that you did not see their passion, their involvement in supporting our society? Who will you pick? This is a branding here. That's why don't look at always short-term stuff. Making money, yes, important. Look at the nature. If you're in medical stuff, it's probably not the best thing to right away spring profit-based, because the straightforward profit-based medical companies I've seen so far is MLM communities. If that's your objective, go ahead. Don't talk to me.
Okay, so
Coffee.
Eva Aslin has just come in to say, hi, Pixie Cigar, love you and your work. So you've got quite a few fans there. And my friend is saying, open your eyes. I'm sleepy. So my Chinese DNA is coming out. So kind of
I
thing.
have this one statement from the community though. I think it's quite interesting to
it's a
highlight
question from Esther Kyle Gunasekara. I think access to you as a community leader is important. Would you agree, Pixie?
Definitely. So this is actually a tricky question. So when the current community I've been building for the past 2 years, at my first year, I made myself extremely accessible. But then I also realized community members take advantage of that accessibility. Depending on the community you're building, the community I'm building is about 14,000 people in the group right now. So accessibility to me means I actually cannot help everyone. So it's important to make sure at that stage when you realize you're growing at that, because I went from 4,000 to now around 13, 14,000. At the 4,000, I could manage my PMs. 14,000, I'm sorry, I cannot manage my PMs anymore. So making sure that the community knows the right way to engage with whether it be community leaders or members, that's how you can actually help out more people itself. So I made a conscious thing that in this year, I did not respond to any PMs when it was related to that particular community, because I knew that if I did that, it will encourage them to actually post inside the group so everyone can get help. But yes, when you're engaging with them, do be accessible, or at least let them know how can we help people. It's important. But also, your mental well-being is very, very important. Extreme accessibility can cause horrible burnout. That is one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of community builders last long. When Nina was mentioning that I was the main community builder, I was a bit flattered, but I know there are a lot of really, really cool old-timers that has been wiped out of KL. You would not have seen them for the past 2-3 years, but they are the OGs that I look up to so much, and I know the reasons why they left, and a lot was related to this burnout, related to, I'm sorry, I cannot be 24/7 accessible to people because I'm just human, and maybe I have a different phase in my life.
But aren't we in the time period where we can actually manage this? Don't we have like the software, the apps, and everything to deal with this kind of engagement? Yeah.
You're talking about contacting or burnout?
I'm talking about,
I think burnout is a real problem, but right now with all technology and stuff like that, is there any software or anything that can help support us in communicating and in managing? Do you know?
How do you manage 14,000 people? I'm curious to know.
I have a team. So it's important to have a team. And one thing that I do, which is a tactic that you guys can learn as well, is that when you're building a community, you want to identify promoters in your community to convert them into community leaders. They're usually like a volunteer. They're a voice of the community. It's more important to let people know that there's a group of people who can help them instead of one person to help them. If you feel like only one person can help you and that person cannot get back to you in time, you become hostile to that community. So making sure there's a front line and a group that you're already nurturing. So what I do is that I go through, let's say on Facebook, I'll see my top contributors and actually reach out to them and say, hey, can you conduct a Facebook Live? Can you help answer certain questions? I want to make you a leader in this community. It's more as a representative. Not that they're better than anyone. It's just that in this time of their life, in this stage, they're more accessible to help more people. And they can bring in insights that I don't have. Because I am the community builder. I'm not the expert of every subject. I know a bit of everything. But if you're talking about getting advice from someone who's been doing business for past 15 years, I'm not that person. Let me introduce you to this other person who can help you, which in a affordable way is that I get I convert community members into community leaders. So then it doesn't have to be just me.
Okay, got it. How are communities operated in general? Is there like a dedicated portal, or is it a social media, or is it a balance of offline and online events? What's the best way, in your opinion?
So it goes back to your target audience. Who are they? Where are they hanging out? How do they like to get engaged? There's this really cool WhatsApp group that I'm in with of the top NGO founders in Malaysia. And we decided a WhatsApp group is the best way for us. And we try not to spam each other. We put very, very key topics. And it's a group of about like 160 people. And it's more, not necessarily exclusive. We felt this was our comfort zone. But then there's also groups where my current community was just 14,000 people. I knew that I could create my own platform, but my goal was to have daily engagement and get people that quick reach out. So then I realized Facebook groups would be better because I can go and set pre-approved posts that I can manage it better. But then there was a different community where like, hey, let's just build this whole thing from scratch. Let's do a forum-based thing, having our own branding. Example, if you're targeting a group of people who dislike social media, why would you create a Facebook group? If those are people who are proud to tell you that I don't have Facebook, I don't have LinkedIn, I don't have a phone. You know the kind of people I'm talking about, right? You don't want to create a social media community. It doesn't make sense. It will turn them off. So as long as you understand who are your customers, what's the kind of engagement that you know is best, then it can help you identify your platform. There's no wrong platform. It's just a platform that doesn't suit your target audience.
Okay, got it. So it depends. It goes back to the community and what it wants and stuff like that. And
the community is very demanding, and you should let them be demanding in your own rules.
Okay, got it.
Controlled environment.
I'd like that. How do we enroll people into our community? Is it like, do we target the audience and enroll them, or do we target, or do they come and find you? What's the best way, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, for that one, I think it's also kind of related to this question as well, which is the engagement side, right?
That will be the next question, yes. But
yeah, okay.
This question, I still remember.
Let's go with that one. Yes.
So first things first, how do we enroll people into the community? Do we target them and invite them, or do they naturally come?
So at the beginning phase, they're not going to actually naturally come because they don't know you. Who are you? Get known first. So what you want to do is always target key leaders. So one thing that I did with this legal technology community, legal hackers, what I did in Malaysia, we did not have this conversation in the legal tech. There was like 2 or 3 that was happening, but it was not really there the same way. And also lawyers in general are not very active on social media as a lawyer, with their own branding of it. So what I did when I was building this legal tech community, I actually went and added about 20 to 30% of all lawyers in KL on LinkedIn. I went and personally messaged all of them and customized naming everyone. Like, hey, Nina, I'm Pixie. I'm a community builder supporting the legal technology in Malaysia. Hope to connect. 20-30% of all lawyers in KL with a LinkedIn account. Reason why is because I knew if I was gonna talk to a lawyer, make them feel comfortable with technology, I need to talk to someone already utilizing a basic form of professional technology that is accessible, LinkedIn right now. Then after I started doing that, I started sharing what I was doing. So the mission statement, what was our goal? I started reaching out to key people that I knew had networks. So it's important that when you start as a community to tap into the different spider webs. We're a network of so many people knows each other who knows another person. Finding the key people and different pointers is a very good way for you to tap into, oh, you have 10 people here. Oh, there's another 100. Oh, you just accessed another 1,000 people database. It takes time and there's a lot of relationship building in the beginning. People are going to buy into your idea and your personality. That's the thing. That personality, because people need to feel that initial trust when it's an idea that it doesn't seem so, not necessarily legit. You're not too sure. There's not enough market validation. People are going to fall in love with you as a person.
Wow. So I'm listening a pattern here. So if let's just say if I were to draw a journey, right? So I'm a startup company, and then I wanted to create my own community. So I come in as a leader, and then I do all the hard work first, right? I have to engage all of the community leaders, enroll them to the vision one by one. So basically, it's still me doing it as solo. So then after that, the second step is for me to basically build my own generals, get them to become the leaders and all that. When do I transition out?
Very good question. I think at different stage, I transitioned out at different timing. So when I was doing more NGO and startup stuff, I did not have that budget, that luxury of transitioning out at soon enough. But with the current, when you have that kind of luxury of people that you've already found your generals and all of that, you don't just suddenly disappear. That's very important to take note of. I think the moment I realized that I had to make sure there were frontliners is when our feedback came in mentioning my name. And I realized that was not okay. I did not want people to, there was people in the community who was like, Pixie can help solve our problems. I did not want that. Even though I engaged with them as Pixie Cigar, I did not want the community to think that only Cigar can solve your problem, because it's not true. Because when I solve a problem, I have a team of people. I reach out to different departments to help me out. It was up to a point, there was a while people were saying, is Pixie a human or a team? Because of my name, people thought it was actually a team of people. So when you're realizing that there's a dependency on the individual, you need to be careful and you need to start slowly transitioning out. But one thing I did from the very, very beginning is that from day one, I always emphasized my team, emphasize the different people. So whether it be the developers, I will actually drag them onto Facebook Live. They're so shy. They don't want to talk. And I like blackmail them. I give them candy, literally have a jar of candy that will go and blackmail the people or reward the people who was too shy in front of the camera. But I wanted my community to see the people making the product, making the platform happen. And this makes them, you become less angry when you have a face to blame. It's easy for you to go on customer chat, say, I hate you guys. But if you're looking at someone's face, it's very hard to go and do that. Like a normal thing, unless you're a Karen or a Kevin, most normal human beings will not go and just yell at someone unless they're super frustrated. And I also want to make sure that my internal teams understood the frustration of our customers, of our communities, and you know what, certain things we cannot compromise on quality, because this is the core thing making them suffer, and this is why someone will leave you. You need to fix it.
You just give me an affirmation right now. Nina, we need to drag Pauline out more.
Yes.
Yeah, she's probably going to give the F word again and say, I'm not banned in the private chat. Okay. Very quickly, because Harris' question has still not been answered. What do I need to do to ensure an engaging, thriving community? I mean, can you put up the question as well? What are some things that we can do? You know, do we make things fun? How do we get better engagement from the community? What do we need to do?
So first of all, you need to make sure that there is consistency in the community. Again, listen to your community, but also give them feedback. Think of different ways to engage them. So whether it be, let's say if we are purely a Facebook group itself, you mix up with doing live streams, you mix up by doing questions of the day. I notice Facebook groups, especially when it's a very business or topical group, when you make some personal sharing, even just a selfie, people actually get very excited and they share about random stuff. And as a community builder, what you're doing, you're probing people. You're triggering people to say more. So every time you actually even do a post, you're already thinking, what am I expecting people to say? What am I expecting them to comment? If I know that everyone will ask this question, I'm already going to include it in the post. I want to make sure they give me the right reaction. So making sure your community is engaging is that you are triggering reactions. There's a certain offline, I love doing offline events because I love dealing with people. And one of the things I do a lot lately is potlucks. It is so good to do potlucks. So the first time I did potlucks was when I was starting out Community Builders Union, which I was bringing together community builders. And what we did is that we went to each other's houses and we did potlucks to share with each other. We brought people into our homes. We made ourselves vulnerable to each other. And it's really good to bring to homes when it's a very close-knit community. But then I also tried that with the business community, with the current company I'm with Lazada. And what we did is that we were at a co-working space and I got our sellers to bring food. Everyone's used to when you go to events is the organizer prepare the food, right? I'm like, nope, you guys bring food. You are going to be part of making this event, making this engagement, making this party happen. So when you started doing that, they started having ownership. And it's important when you're building up the engagement in your community is that you are prodding the members to become owners of content, whether it be posting more, starting to Facebook Live, bringing food to an event. It's a very simple step, but already makes them feel like, hey, this is our thing. It's not just you. So even when you're trying to improve people's general satisfaction of the event, if you are part of organizing, you're not going to say you didn't like the event. And ways how to make people involved, it makes them feel like they're part of this family. And you want to trigger that. So I love doing potlucks. It's a really good way to engage the community and save costs.
Wow, that's a very good important point. Yeah. So Harriet, gotong royong is one, potluck is another one. Yeah.
Yeah, gotong royong. What are some of the ideas, interesting ideas that you've seen besides potluck? Is there anything else that you notice that works?
Yeah. So offline. I think it depends what I'm trying to achieve as well. I'm always very like, what do you want? Now let's figure out how to do that. Yeah, it's there. I think I got polluted by the corporate mindset, but it made me
definitely
not wasting everyone's time now. So I love doing these kind of online. I like doing those 24 hours to comment. I love doing study groups. So when I was trying to improve the awareness of a certain topic, I realized that people felt that when because I do training as well, when people are just listening to me, they didn't really feel involved. So what I did, instead of me just conducting a workshop for, let's say, 200 people, I got volunteers and instructors to be mentors. And how it is, we smaller session and group up. So then I got in different cities or even in small township, let's say Tamantun or Damansara, the members will conduct the meetup at coffee, at Starbucks or Mamak's. And they will have discussions amongst them that's related to the community itself. This way, I can spread farther without my own team going everywhere. You want to look at scalability. And also for sellers who wanted to have a closer interaction, but felt too shy talking in a big crowd, which is most often the case when we have in Malaysia, this kind of way made them feel they were more a part of it. They were engaging, they were talking, asking questions. I had to 4 stop sessions because too many questions were happening. This never happens at an event. Too many questions. This just doesn't happen. But when you put them in their comfort zone, they were very willing to share these things, and I can scale faster. Other things, study groups you can do online and offline. So online, we have now Facebook Meets, which I'm going to test out next week with my community, but there's also Zoom, so many other ways to do it. I think it really depends. Your community, there's never a wrong way. And the worst thing is you test it, it fails, stop doing it. It's so easy. Community is the best way to test ideas. You may have an assumption about something, you test it, they say, heck no, don't do it. Easy.
Yeah.
But they say, heck yeah, invest money and make that scale.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely agree.
I love the way you do it, the way you summarize it. It's just at the end of the day, it's the communication, the listening, the whole feedback.
Yeah. Everything is two-way. Kanu just join us. Hi, Kanu. David Victory as well. Welcome. Is there a business model for communities? How do brands start leveraging on communities to make money? I agree. I don't think you should, immediately sell. You got to build that relationship first. Or if you are a community and you have no products, can you make money? How can communities monetize? And do people make money by joining communities? Just wondering.
Okay, so first I'm gonna get do people make money out of joining communities? First thing we all know, MLM. Yes, it's a way, but there's also different ways of, for example, BNI communities where you're recommending other businesses. I find it a very interesting community because I know a lot of people have that MLM feeling about them, this business recommendation. So there's good and bad about how their style, but it's important to understand it is their way and their members like it. If it works for a group, we should not say it's right or wrong in that sense, unless you're making them drink the Kool-Aid, of course. But that is one way how members can make money. Let's say we are a advertising agency example, and community members are different talents who come together, and it's kind of like a joint corporation. You can think of this kind of as a community as well. For ways how companies can monetize on communities, you have, first of all, I don't know if you guys, so Drubinski community, whether it be 100% Project, Dear Irene, these are KOL communities where people come together because they share that same love for whether it be travel or food. These community, how generally the owners monetize is through advertising. So the members are not the one giving money, but that brand awareness of having this huge group of people and you advertising stuff through content marketing that doesn't give people that ick kind of, oh, you're pushing something in my face. It makes people more willing to buy, and advertisers love that as well. You see a lot of kind of mentors, personal coaches. There are many, many ways actually to make money if you're doing your community right. But you always need to take note that depending on your business, your product or your module itself, it's not always the members the one paying the bills. The dollars could come from somewhere else as well.
Right. Okay. Could you share an example of that? Is the dollars coming from somewhere else?
So the advertising part. So the members are not the one paying for this, right? Whether you're building a even a cause itself, they are getting sponsored. The blogs itself, the Facebook groups, the members are not paying at all. Or else it could be in a way, if let's say it's something for a cause, where you will have people donating to the community builders, to the NGO itself, supporting a certain marginalized community or a certain community in need. This is still, the owners are still getting money from it. Essentially, they're still surviving, but the members itself are not paying anything. They are benefiting in different ways.
Okay, got it. We are about to wrap up. It's already 9:30, way above our time. But in your opinion, what is the secret to community building?
I think you guys can already answer it. Listening.
Listening.
Okay, I like that.
Just keep on saying that again. Yeah.
Listening, because it's just about that. You listen, you care, you look at the data, and you take action now. Don't wait.
Okay.
Really don't wait, and be comfortable with admitting that you were wrong about an idea and just stop doing that.
Okay. Wow. I love it. I think that's exactly what we definitely, are behind. And what is it about community building that businesses and people still don't get, you think?
They only look at the short term. They don't understand that they need to have a very clear objective from the beginning, and they don't realize that they need it in the first place. Like, I think that's the main thing. Like, they don't know they need it, which they actually do, and they're creating a community whether they know it or not. But you rather make the motors into promoters. That's important.
Okay, got it.
Actually, I have one question before we go to that question. I always like to come up with a controversial question, right? So,
yes, which is good. Go on.
Is there a possibility where if I am competing with another brand, right? So we are selling like a similar product.
Yeah.
Right. Is there a possibility for us to actually come together as a community member, even though we are like a totally two different competitors? Has that happened?
Competitors in the same area.
In the same area, yeah. Let's just say we are two different brands. Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot name off of my mind, but I have seen it, especially when you come and looking at sports brands. So once you have shared the same kind of, I love saying common goal because it's part of the whole deal together. But smart community builders or brands understand when they can leverage off of someone else. You cannot do this. You should not waste your time on trying to do it alone. You need to be comfortable in sharing credit with people and also admitting that I'm not the only one with this idea. We all have the same goal, but you know what? My product is actually better than the other guys. We don't need to say that, but I make sure it is. But it's perfectly okay, and you must and you should go and collaborate with other people. Because at the end of the day, you need to be member-oriented. You need to be customer community member-oriented. And if it takes you, in a way, hanging out with the person you hate the most in the world, do it. It's worth it.
Okay.
Hey.
To answer your question, you know, my post today on LinkedIn was about the swimwear brand Kitty and Vibe. I was looking through their Instagram, and they are a swimwear provider company, and they actually spoke up about Black Lives Matter. And for that 1 week, their posting was about, you know, like we're all worthy, different colors. And there was one post in one day where they actually highlighted business owners that you could support. So they actually listed down Black owner swimwear, and they're a competitor, right? So they listed down all the swimwear brands that were owned by Black entrepreneurs, and then they even
Wow.
put in the accessories and the whatnot. So that to me was
Very
wow.
good move.
Yeah.
That's a good
So
move because you
yeah.
are relating yourself to, you're showing your brand's emotions. You're showing what your brand stands for way
Yep.
beyond the product. Because that company, when one day they decide to sell sport shoes, people will remember that they are the ones who are willing to embrace other people who share the same value despite them being competitor.
Yeah. So they were listing accessories, they were listing handbags, they were listing makeup. But what shocked, I did not think they would list down swimwear, but they did. And I was like, whoa, you know, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Or the Malaysians like to say tabe spring, right?
Yeah. No, because the
Yeah.
reason why I asked this question is because uh, I used to work for my parents who owns a car workshop, right? And in that car workshop, we actually have this Persatuan Pengusaha kedai-kedai workshop satu Malaysia. And whenever they come in, right, together, it's like the competitive spirit is still there. So it's a failed community because even though they're trying to come together and work on something, right, but you still have that doubt on telling each other you're doing and all that. Which that's a very old mindset that we have, right? Because remember when we had that interview with Sharil Ibrahim, in
Uh-huh.
Silicon Valley, people are willing to share,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So we don't have that here.
No.
That's why.
People are willing to steal.
I
That's the
Yeah.
mindset.
this community, which is with Lazada right now, because it's a seller community, right? They're technically all competitors, and what I love about them is that whenever anyone shares their sales success, everyone goes and congratulating them, telling them, "Hey, bro, you did such a good job, congrats!" And the community is super supportive. There was never that kind of. I've literally never seen someone being bitter about someone else's success. And a wholesome community is because remember, a community, we share the same goal. So we're all trying to head towards the same finish line. We are
Yeah.
competitors naturally within the community, but have you built it in a way that we're willing to pick each other up, give someone a tip, share, and let's say in the Lazada case, share a banner, like a template design that I did, but I'm sharing to the others that you can go and use my design to make your store more attractive to get people to buy. This is the spirit that you guys want to lead up to, especially when you're in your growth, when you're at your stability stage. When you go extreme growth, at this stage, you have a bunch of everyone there. You need to make sure that people show the same standards, and you will not tolerate anything besides your standards. So setting community rules is very important. Do not compromise on your standards because you
Yep.
will regret it
I like.
after.
Okay, I like that.
I
Okay,
like
so
that.
I'm gonna ask the last question before the rapid fire.
Yeah.
Moving forward, what is next for you, Pixie Cigar? What are your plans?
So for me, it's for sure always community. I love it. Consultancy is something very strong in me, and I've been doing a lot of teaching this year
Yay.
because of COVID, and
Mhm.
because my team, I had to teach Chinese sessions because my team couldn't do Chinese, and I realized my community wanted Chinese classes, so I'm teaching a lot. And I would say a big focus for me is always to go into policy. I started out in NGOs because I am not someone for necessary consumer brands. I could deal with it, but I am focused on how to do nation building, how to improve our society, how to be part of mobilizing the community within laws, making sure we have the right policies, the governance of a country. That is always my focus, and that's always going to be my end goal. So you see me wandering around, is understanding people, community. I look at even bigger scale because in a way, to me, knowing how to manage a Facebook group, it's the first way to managing a country.
Wow, I like
Wow.
that.
I
That's
like
so
that. I like
awesome.
that.
Okay, you know what? I think we are definitely going to have a chat with you so we can offer the rest of the popcorn community. So stay tuned. Hopefully a masterclass by Pixie Cigar soon. Okay, so can we go into the rapid fire business round questions? Are you ready, Pixie?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what are the important questions businesses need to ask themselves before starting their own community?
What do you want to achieve with your business, and who do you target, and what do they want to do? Understand your customers.
Okay, got it. What are 3 things businesses can do right now to start building their own community?
Set a goal, reach out to your customers, and do it right away. Stop waiting.
Okay. And what's the 3 most crucial things businesses can do to ensure that their community is engaged?
Listen and respond, involve your members, and keep your consistency.
Okay, involve your members. I like that. And the last question is, what is the one advice you would give to businesses out there with respect to building a community? I think I know the answer, but if that was one advice, what would it be?
Always be community first, or at least make the community think you are.
Okay, how do you do that? That's lying. Just kidding.
That's fake it till you make it lah.
Okay, I actually thought you were gonna say listening.
No, being community first.
Okay, got it. I like that.
But you want to show that you're taking action. If you're just listening and not doing anything, it means nothing.
Okay, got it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yep, I love that. Okay, this is so gonna be edited. I mean, I hope I have time to do this. Okay. Thank you so much, Pixie. Afjal Ahmad just said hi. He says hello. Okay, so that's obviously your friend. Yeah, and also can you just send some love with a lovely emoticon? So yeah, I guess if there's anything that I learned, my takeaway from today is community marketing is definitely something that you want to focus on, and it's about community, and it's two-way, and it's about listening to your people, and in that sense you'll always be ahead, right? And you'll know what to do with your product and stuff like that. I mean, do you want to add anything to that?
I love the whole structure and how she does it. She makes it so simple. So at the end of the day, I'm very clear. It's objective, focus on the community, right? Because my money-minded thing will come out sometimes, right? But I have to like
it on the show. Okay.
Yeah. So
that's Pixie, thank you so much. We need to give you a whole round of applause.
Thank you so much, Pixie.
Session. I do wish we can connect with you in person, catch up with you in person. Don't go anywhere. We want to have a chat with you after this.
We're going to have a chat with you for a while, but we're going to be moving you just for a while. Just stay there for a while, okay?
Okay. We have like a backstage. Yeah. Okay. So,
bye.
Thank you so much for staying in. Before we go, we hope you guys were at least inspired by Pixie and what she had to share, and you're going to start building your community right now. But before we go, what's happening the rest of the week? I mean,
we have our LinkedIn classes coming up, right? So we have
slides and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we actually have the assessment coming up, but I think I want to talk about the Killer All-Star LinkedIn profile that's happening on 13th and also 29th August, right? That is basically, this is a 4-hour online workshop where we actually will basically help you to improve your LinkedIn profile, okay? And this is like a must-go workshop. You guys just have to go for this. Okay, that's all I have to say. Okay.
I mean, it's so nice. I'm actually the trainer for the Killer Profile. Just to share with you, this is one of our best-selling class. We're reducing it because of the MCO. We want to help a lot of businesses. It basically helps you guys become more noticed, and with a damn good killer LinkedIn profile, you're gonna get more leads, and you're gonna get more authority. You're gonna basically help position yourself as the authority in your industry. So get yourself into the class, no question. $99 is ridiculous. You have no idea what you're missing. Okay, just sign up.
Okay.
And
next week,
we've got Dan Olsen, 8 p.m. on Friday, where we talk about advertisement, how to produce an entertaining marketing campaign that drives trackable ROI. The week after, we're going back to Thursday and at 8:30 p.m. This is for you guys, the shy guys out there. Now, this is a very
Shy guy?
interesting
Sorry.
story. Okay, not this one, like this one. Yeah, okay. So,
Yeah, sorry.
Muhammad Flavor's guide to being confident, professional, and bold on the big stage. But for us, it's more of being in front of the camera. Now, his story is quite amazing. At 13 years old, he actually signed himself to the Star newspaper public speaking competition, knowing full well he was gonna lose. And guess what? He did lose. In fact, he didn't just lose, he went last. But from there, he's now an international MC and commentator in the arena of esports. So how did he do that? How did he cycle his mind to be able to speak and all that kind of thing? You definitely want to see that. It's such an amazing story. And last but not least, we've got Tsujimi, the father of vlogging, and he's going to be talking about, this is another much in demand session with Tsujimi, and he's going to share with us how to become better content creator using vlogging. Yep, kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what's happening. If you love that, make sure you stick around and follow us on all our social media. Amin has it listed there. Now, if you know someone who would really appreciate and benefit from today's show, please tag them, send it to them, and of course, please show us some love by following us on social media and liking and whatever not our social media. We'll be coming up with more videos and speakers. Let us know who you want for us to interview, okay, and what you guys want to learn.
So if you don't know who you want, maybe what you can also do is to give us your topic that you want to take a look at.
Yeah,
so
like you want to hear about you want to hear about YouTube influencers, you want to hear about Instagram influencers, then we have to get Pixie sister, how to hack it. So just let us know. If you want to know how to cook, that's not our platform, but yeah, just let us know.
We'll figure it out, right? If you want that, we'll figure it out.
Okay, so I'm Nina signing off.
And I'm Amin and with that, you've been Popcorn. We'll see you again.
All right, we'll see you next week, Friday, 8 o'clock. Okay, see you. Bye.
See you. Bye, guys.
Popcorn.